A very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to class. Yeah, okay. Now I can see that I'm audible and visible. So let's crack CSIR-UGC NET together with the India's largest learning platform, that is Unacademy. Before beginning with the topic of today, let us have a small introduction about Unacademy. Unacademy is one of the India's largest platforms for preparation of UGC examination. I'm your educator Farida Bandookwala and I'm pursuing a PhD from Technology. I've done MPhil and qualified and have a teaching experience of 10 years. If you are preparing for CSIR-UGC NET with Academy, what all things you are going to get, let's talk about that. So you are going to get daily live classes, there will be structured courses, there will be live tests and quizzes, and you will have unlimited access for all the videos which are available on that particular platform. What are the benefits of daily life? Determine that I'm going to prepare. You need to be in motion, you need to be motivated after every other day. So daily classes will be helpful in that ways. Then there will be structured courses as the CSIR life science syllabus is consisting of 13 units. So it is not possible for anyone to complete those 13 units quite in a short span of time. But with an academy, you will get full syllabus arranged in such a way that you'll be able to complete the whole syllabus soon. And there will be live tests and quizzes, and as I always say, it is very important to take tests while preparing for the examination because you will come to know that how much you learned so to evaluate yourself for the next examination, that is very important. So like tests and quizzes, they are beneficial there. Then there's unlimited access to all the videos which you are subscribing for. Then if you're going with Unacademy, then Unacademy conducts free classes and it conducts free classes on YouTube and it conducts free classes for special classes that is on the app. So you can just download the app, make your account and go for CSIR UGC preparation. So you'll be all the notifications of the upcoming special classes and all the previously recorded special classes. So free live classes are helpful that way that without even paying anything, you will be getting all the classes. Then there is this plus platform, and for this plus platform, you pay a little amount, but the benefits are a lot that you will get all the 13 for there in a well arranged and systematic manner. And for all the upcoming examinations for CSIR examination, they keep on conducting the short-term courses and crash courses so that in a very small span of time you can revise the whole thing. Then for plus subscription you need to pay a certain amount that I was saying. So that certain amount is very pocket friendly. It's not at all a burden on pocket. So by paying a minimum amount you can get the access for all the videos you can prepare for the examination. What I would suggest is go for a 12 monthly or 24 monthly subscription. And lastly, use my referral code that is FB01 for getting a 10% discount. Do not forget to use my referral code that is FB01 for getting the subscription. Now let us start with the topic of today, that is the behavior in evolution. How the behavior evolved in evolution. The topic is evolution and behavior. So behavior biologists study the actions of animals in their environment. So that we are going to see. So classical concepts in behavior. So what is behavioral biology in terms to evolution? So it's the study of what animals do when interacting with their environment, how they're interacting with environment, how they're interacting with the members of their own species, how they're interacting with members of the other species. These all things comes under behavioral biology. that what is the behavior of that particular organism. Behavior can be interpreted in terms of proximate causes and ultimate causes, like immediate interaction with the environment and what was the reason of this particular behavior. Sometimes we see a particular action done by an animal, so we are unable to guess that why it is doing that certain way. But definitely there must be some hidden reason for doing that. So ultimate cause is the evolutionary cause, that why it is doing that way. So behavior can be interpreted in terms of proximate causes, what we can see presently, and what is actually hidden reason behind that thing. So proximate causes and ultimate causes. These are the two things which we need to know while we are studying the behavior of an organism, right? So other thing, early insights into the nature of behavior came from the studies by Nobel laureate that is Carl von Frisch, Bernard Lawrence, and Nico Tinberg. These are the three scientists who actually gave the first idea that there is something related to behavior. Behavior can also be studied in a certain way. They were among the first experimentalists in the behavioral biology. So they did the first experiments, or we can say they were the person who actually gave the idea in a very well systematic manner, and they came in the forefront that there is something related to behavioral biology. Organisms, they behave in a certain way for a certain kind of reaction. This is what they have to say, that there is a reason behind a particular kind of behavior if an organism is exhibiting. Then Tinberg and Lawrence performed the experimental studies of innate behavior and simple form of learning. We are going to study innate behavior and simple form of learning also. So these two scientists, Tinberg and Lawrence, they did the experiment which were actually based on innate behavior and simple form of learning. These are the two things which they actually emphasized. A classic Tinberg experiment deals with the nesting behavior of digger wasp. The animal, which is the digger wasp, it is based on that. So what he did actually, we'll be seeing the experiment. It will be quite interesting. So he did the experiment on the nesting behavior, that how they lay egg and how they nest the thing, how they care for it. So that is the thing which is hidden in the experiment done by Tinberg. So the female wasp often excavates and cares for 4 or 5 separate nests. So the female can actually take care of 4 to 5 nests altogether at the same time. So Tinberg used this experiment to test his prediction, and digger wasp use landmarks to keep track of their nests. So if a wasp is uh, keeping the nest at different location, so how it is going to know that my nest is in this particular direction? How it will come to know that my nest is there and I have to go there, because it has to come out for his food and various other things. So again he has to go back to his nest. So how would he actually come to know that this is my nest? So how he is going to know about his nest? That experiment he did. In the experiment, Denver placed a circle of pine cones around the nest opening. So the nest opening was actually, he surrounded that nest opening with the pine cones. Can you see that the pine cones in this picture? These are the pine cones and this is the nest. So he kept the pine cones around it, and wasp, it was actually able to make out the place of its nesting through the help of the uh, footprints or landmarks, that okay, this is going to be there and this is going to be there. That way it used to identify the nest. So after female flew away, Tinberg moved the pine cones to a few feet to one side of the nest opening, and then previously when the wasp was there, what he did, when wasp was just looking at it, he kept the pine cones very systematically, so that it will have in his mind that okay, my nest is surrounded by this kind of location, this is the landmark pine cones. And when in the second time, when it actually went up away and when it was the time for it to come back, he just displace these pine cones to another direction. So now what should be its reaction? So he will be just looking for the pine cones, that is the major landmark. But when it will be unable to find the nest, it will be difficult for it to understand that what has happened. So that is the way it got confused. When it came back, it could not find its nest in the center. So when the female wasp returned, she flew to the middle of the circle of pine cones rather to the actual nest opening. So this was confirmed that it gives the it takes the major signals of the landmarks. So that is how the experiment was conducted. Then Tinberg next arranged the pine cones in a triangle around the nest and made a circle of small stones off to one side of the nest opening. Now what it did in the next thing, that he placed the pine cones around the nest and he made a small circle with the stones near to the nest. So what is going to happen? The time the wasp flew to the this time the wasp flew to the stones, because previously it thought that okay fine, now the pine cones are gone and I need to look for some other thing, so it came back to the stones, but still it wasn't there. The wasp cued in on the arrangement of the landmarks rather than the landmarks themselves. So wasp, it is based on the cue of the arrangement of the landmarks, how the landmarks are arranged. Now you know what it actually wants to say is that it is seeing the pattern, it is seeing the circular pattern, it is seeing the triangular pattern. It is not actually seeing the pine cones, or it is not actually seeing the stones, but it is actually seeing the arrangement. It is seeing something circular. Okay, something is in circular form kept around my nest, and that is the place where I need to come back. So it is based on the arrangement of the landmark rather than the landmark themselves. This experiment demonstrated that the wasp did use landmarks and that she could learn the new ones to keep track of her nest. So every time when it is laying egg, it will always have that memory of new type of landmark. So it uses the landmark to recover its nest. So behavioral ecologists are especially interested in the ultimate cause of behavior, which are evolutionary in nature. Natural selection preserves behavior that enhances fitness. So two of the points are coming at the same time over here. So what happens is the behavior of an animal at that particular point of time is its proximate behavior. But what is actually hidden in its evolutionary genes, we don't know. So that is the ultimate behavior of an organism. So two words you need to remember, that is ultimate evolution or ultimate behavior, and ultimate and proximate behavior. These are the two terms which you should always keep in mind. So there must be some ultimate reason behind everything. So natural selection preserves behaviors that enhances the fitness. So if wasps, they will forget the location of their nest, or if they are keeping wrong things in their mind, so that will be harmful for the wasp only. So natural selection, it actually preserves the behavior which enhances the fitness. So fitness is the most important thing, that if fitness is increasing, that behavior will be engraved in its genome. It will be hardwired in the genome. This is what they want to say. So animal behavior often involves a combination of genetic programming, that is innate behavior, and environmental practices. So animal behavior involves combination of both of the things, that is genetic programming, that is as this is in the genes, and now they can identify the things because their gene knows, and environmental experience. So some of the things is because it is there in their genome, and some of the things will be because of the experiences which they are actually having in their lifetime. So animal behavior is because of the genetic programming and environmental experiences. So both genes and the environment, they influence the development of behavioral phenotype just like any other trait. So genes will be responsible for their behavior, environmental influence will be responsible for their behavioral phenotype just like any other trait. So both of the things, behavioral biology, we are saying a person is behaving a certain way. So that is because of the stimulus. So it is not only because of stimulus, but because of the gene as well. So environment and gene, both of the things are responsible for that specific behavior of an organism. The gathering of nest material by lovebirds has genetic and environmental components. So making nest by the lovebirds is actually a behavior which is there in their gene, and it is also because of the environmental requirement. So see over here in the first picture, I'll take the laser line. So see here, single long strip carried in beak, single long strip is carried in the beak, and it is carried in the beak, and then several short strips tucked under the feathers. So under the feathers, they are also taking very small pieces. So the first one is about the fisher's lovebird. The second is about the peach-faced lovebirds. They both are showing different kind of behavior. And the hybrid behavior is ducking failure. In the hybrid, they were unable to show that behavior, ducking failure. Can you see in the picture that they were unable to show that behavior? They were unable to actually carry it. So two types of organisms are showing different type of behavior in response to their gene makeup and in response to the environment. So environmental need is to have a nest, but there is no pressure from the environment that you carry long distance or you carry short. So that is something which is there in their genome. That is the genetic engravement. That is the genetic component. Right? Now, another thing is sign or stimulus are actually the thing which trigger the behavior in an organism. If there is a particular behavior in an organism and it is not showing that behavior, that means it is not getting particularly strong stimulus to that reference. So sign, stimulus, often a simple cue in animal's environment, trigger the innate behaviors, essentially unchangeable fixed action. So if that stimulus it is going to get, it is going to return back to its original behavior. The genetic programming underlying the fixed action pattern ensures that such activities are performed correctly without practice. So these activities should be performed without, sorry, I'm having a little flu. Just really sorry. So the genetic programming is the underlying cause of the fixed action pattern, and they are the assurance that a particular organism is going to behave that way. Then another example in this category is about the grey-lag goose. So what the grey-lag goose it does, it always retrieves an egg that has been bumped out of a nest in the same manner. So whenever a egg is bumped out of the nest, it is going to bring back that egg in the similar manner always. It is not going to show any different kind of behavior. It is not going to use its hands, or it is not going to use its wings. It is always going to pull it back with the help of its neck and its beak. So this is a fixed action pattern. She carries this sequence to completion even if the egg slips away during the process. And if the egg slips away during the process, then also it is going to complete the whole process, because that is like hardwired. So that is not the environmental condition that now it needs to do it, but it is doing because it is there in the genome. It is fixed in the genome. So that is only called as fixed action pattern. Fixed action pattern. She carries this sequence to completion even if the egg slips away during the process. Then several key events in the life cycle of the European cuckoo are determined by fixed action pattern. Several key events are there in the life cycle of European cuckoo that are determined by the fixed action pattern. So the action is fixed. Several key events. So the behavior is always fixed. It is not going to change or anything. So egg laying behavior, first of the thing is egg laying behavior, how it lays egg, how it is going to lay the egg in a particular manner. It is going to lay the egg. It is not going to change from one organism to another. So everyone knows that the behavior of cuckoo, European cuckoo, is to hijack the nest of some other bird and lay egg over there. That is its behavior. The behavior of cuckoo hatchling ejecting the host eggs from the nest, and when the young ones of this cuckoo are going to come out, they are going to eject the host's egg from the nest. That is like, okay, fine, if there is a grown up bird, it knows that where to lay the egg, fine, but the young ones which have just come out, how can be they so sure that these are not the eggs from my species and I need to eject them out? So that is the behavior which is engraved in their genome. That is like hardwired. Then another thing is the feeding behavior of a foster mother to the cuckoo chick. Now the nest belongs to a particular bird, right? And that bird is going to think that these eggs are mine and it is going to feed the cuckoo's chicks. So that is also a hardwired behavior which is in the genome. So these are the things. Then learning ranges from simple behavioral changes to complex problem solving. So that was like innate. The first one that we have seen is innate. The second one is the learning behavior. So learning is a change in behavior resulting from experience. So learning is something different. So it will come from the experience, from the experience it is getting in his life. Habituation is one of the simplest form of learning. How an animal habituates a particular place will come from learning. An animal learns not to respond to a repeated stimulus that convey little or no information. If there is a repeated stimulus and organism keeps on reacting to that stimulus, it will be of no much use to it. So animal learns not to respond to a repeated stimulus that conveys little or no information. If there is a bang going on in a particular area and a bird is living in that area, so it will learn after some time that this bang is going to occur. Otherwise, in the place which is usually calm and there it listens a loud bang, it is going to react. But if bang is going on, so eventually that stimulus is going to lose all the um, quality to actually generate any kind of information in the organism. For example, the birds eventually become habituated to the scarecrows and no longer they avoid by the fruits near. So eventually they will become habituated that scarecrows are just not the real ones. They are just like that. So they will become habituate and they will also try to consume the fruits which are near to this scarecrow. So eventually what farmers they have to do, they will have to change the place of the scarecrows and the formation of scarecrows. So birds they eventually learn that scarecrows are just a model which is there kept for making them afraid not to go in that area and to avoid the fruits, but eventually they'll stop avoiding the fruits of that area. So this from where this has come from. So this is a kind of learned behavior. This is the learning. This is the learning which they are understanding, right? Now, the types of learning. Learning cannot be of one type, but it can be of various types. So the learning types is habituation, imprinting, association, imitation, and problem solving. These are the learnings. So habituation, what do we mean by habituation? Loss of a response to a stimulus after repeated exposure. So what happens? Loss of a response to stimulus, like there is a scarecrow and it is losing all the type of response to that thing is habituation. It is becoming habituated to that particular thing. If there is bang, bang, bang all the time going on, people will become habituated to that thing. They're not going to show any kind of response to that thing. Then is imprinting, that is learning that is irreversible and limited to a sensitive time period in an animal's life, often result in a strong bond between new offspring and parents. imprinting is something that is irreversible, learning that is irreversible and limited to a sensitive time period in an animal's life. So like we say that when a human baby is born, till the age of 7 years they have a very flexible mind, so that is the imprinting period, and that is imprinted for whole life. So it often results in a strong bond between the new offspring and the parents if that time is taken crucially. Then there is this association. Behavioral change resulting from a link between a behavior and a reward or punishment, trial and error learning. So association, that is the behavioral change. So if I'm doing this, this is going to happen. If I'm doing this, this is going to happen. So this is the association kind of behavior. So reward or punish, association type of learning it is. Then is imitation, copying someone, learning and observing and mimicking other organisms. So that is imitation. Then problem solving, inventive behavior that arises in response to the new situation. If a situation is new, so an organism, it has to see that this is going to work this way or it is not going to work this way. So that is the problem solving approach. Now, second, first we have seen habituation, isn't it? We have seen habituation, that how birds they became habituate to the scarecrows. That was the classical example that we have seen. Then talking about imprinting. Imprinting is learning that involves both innate behavior and experience, that uh, how it is going to be reacting in that particular way, and imprinting is there for a very short sensitization time. It is not going to last always. So imprinting is irreversible learning limited to a sensitive period in an animal's life. It enhances fitness by enabling rapid learning. So that particular point of time in an organism's life will going to impact its whole behavior overall in the life. So example is Lawrence used the grey-leg goose to demonstrate the imprinting. He took over the maternal role for a group of gooselings. So what happened is this grey-leg goose, whenever they are hatched, they are going to see all the moving objects, and when they will see the moving objects, they are going to think that this is my mother. So this is how the experiment was conducted. See, not all the example of imprinting involve the parent offspring bonding. So here are the examples, they are related to the parent offspring bonding, but all of them are not actually related to the parent offspring bonding. Some are different. Although newly hatched salmon do not receive any parental care, they imprint on the complex mixture of odors unique to the freshwater stream where they hatch. So some of the imprinting is related to the odor, that they will recognize the odor where they are born, and this allows them to come back to the same place for spawn after spending a year or more at sea. So because of the odor, they can come back to their original period. So that is the sensitization period or imprinting period. So this is not related to the paternal care. Then imprinting plays an important role in song development for many kind of birds. So the normal birds, they sing in a particular tone, and bird reared in isolation and where they have learned only a specific tone, they are going to produce a different kind of sound. So normal bird, it is going to mimic lot many different type of frequencies, but the bird which is actually reared in isolation, it is not going to produce that many sounds as compared to the organism which has been reared in an environment which was quite loud. Now many animals learn by association and imitation. So the next is association and imitation, that how others are doing, we are going to do that way. So associative learning is learning that a particular stimulus or response is linked to a reward or punishment. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to get this. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to get punished this way. So this is association and imitation behavior. These ducks have learned to associate humans with food handouts. So these ducks, they know that humans, they are going to come and they are going to food. They are going to give them food, and they congregate rapidly whenever a person approaches the shoreline. And they know that if human is coming, it is going to give them some food. So whenever any kind of human, even without food, they come and they approach them on the shoreline. So this is the learned behavior. And some of the offsprings, they don't know that humans, they will be approaching with food, but they are just imitating what others are doing. Then another is trial and error learning. Trial and error learning is a common form of associative learning. An animal learns to associate one of its own behavioral acts with a positive or negative effect. If an organism is going to behave a certain way, it is going to be punished, or it is going to be positively benefited or negatively impacted. That all it learns during his whole life with the help of trial and error learning. Okay, I'm going to jump from tree, I'm going to get hurt. If I'm not going to jump from tree and I'm going to take small leaps from branch to branch to branch and then coming down, okay, this is the safest method. So this is the trial and learning method, which is common associative learning. Then imitation is learning by observing and mimicking the behavior of others. This we know that what is the meaning of imitation. This form of mimicking form of learning is not limited to a sensitive period. Mimicking can go for whole life. It is their whole life. Okay, if that organism is going in that direction, if I'll go in that direction, maybe I'll be blessed with some more food. So this is not confined to a small period. Then many predators, including cats and coyotes, seem to learn some of their basic hunting tactics by observing and imitating their mother. The organism, that is cat and coyote, it learns that how to behave in a particular way when I'm seeing my prey, that they learn from their mother, and they can learn this from their other mates also. Then is the problem solving behavior. Some of the animals, they exhibit problem solving behavior like chimpanzees and retrievals. They do this problem solving behavior through the method that, okay, I have to get that thing from the river. See, in this picture you can see a chimpanzee taking something from the river with the help of a stick. So that is a learned behavior. And ravens, they also learn certain things, that I can take a particular piece from down in a certain way. If something is hanging, I need to pull the string up and then eat it. It is not going to just fly and dig its mouth. It is going to sit over there and pull it. So that is the problem solving behavior. Then an animal's behavior reflects its evolution. So whatever it is doing is actually in response to the evolutionary uh, impact which it has got. So tiger is hunting, that does not mean that deer, it is living in the same environment, it will also start hunting. No, they are not going to start hunting. So something is actually behavior is something related to gene and environment both, and behavior is related to evolution by any of the case. Like humans, we are also showing a certain pattern because of evolution. We are showing this flight and fright behavior in response to some kind of a stimulus. That is also evolutionary adaptation. So behavior is an evolutionary adaptation that enhances the survival and reproductive chances. So survival and reproduction is going to be more if they are going to twist their ways in a certain way. So behavior evolved as a natural selection fine tunes an animal to its environment. So behavior evolves as natural selection. Behavior, okay, I'm doing this thing this way, so this is going to be best suited. So that is a kind of natural selection, and this natural selection should be in response to the environment. It should not be different from the environmental stimulus. So the hunting and reproduction behavior of jaguars, nest location by digger wasps, and imprinting of goslings. These all are the examples of the behavior in response to the environment. Now, animals exhibit a great variety of rhythmic behavior patterns, right? Like circadian rhythms are patterns that are repeated daily, sleep and wake cycles in animal and plants. Circadian rhythms appear to be timed as timed by an internal biological clock. Circadian rhythm is internal biological clock. Then in the absence of environmental cues, these rhythms, they continue. So if a person, he is used to living in a place where there is a longer daytime and shorter nighttime, that person, if he's going to go to a place where the day is smaller and night is longer, it is not going to behave in that environment, but it is going to behave what it has been sensitized to. So in absence of the environmental cues, these rhythms actually continue, but they become out of phase with the environment. So now they are okay, they are showing a rhythmic pattern, but it is out of phase. Environment is not letting it, okay, this is the thing going to happen. So this is the natural and this is the constant darkness. It is going to behave in a certain way. So movement in a directed way enables animal to avoid predators, migrate to a more favorable environment, obtain food, find mates and nest sites. So organism, it is going from one place to another. What is it going to help it, or how is it going to be affected? So a movement in a particular direction can actually going to be beneficial in terms that it can avoid the predators, then it can migrate to a place which is more favorable with the environment, and it can obtain food as well, and it can find mates and nest sites. So now talking about the types of animal kingdom, animal movements that okay, I can see some of the students who are watching it live. So types of animal movement, it is related to the words kinesis and taxis. So kinesis is a simple type of animal movement, random movement in response to a stimulus. If there is a stimulus, there will be movement. Then kinesis, simplest type of animal movement, random movement in response to a stimulus. Then comes is taxis. It is another simple type of movement, a movement, a more or less automatic movement directed towards or away from some stimulus. If it is going in a certain direction and then it is moving away from that stimulus, it is called as taxis. Example include rheotaxis, chemotaxis and phototaxis. So it can be in response to the water current, it can be response to the chemicals like the movement of pollen to the base, is also because of the sugary thing which is produced, or development of pollen tube is also a kind of chemotaxis. Then phototaxis is development of plant in a certain direction. So these are the taxic movements. Some animals use landmark to find their way within an area. So some of the animals, they find the landmark, like we have seen about the wasps, that they think about the landmarks. So many animals formulate cognitive maps, internal representation of a spatial relationship among object and their surrounding, like wasps they do. Some animals undertake long range migrations. So they go to long ranges and then they come back. So how do they do it? Through some kind of cues like odor or salinity or temperature. So example of the animals who take long range migration are whales, sea turtles, birds, monarch butterflies, etc. Animals navigate using the sun, star, temperature, gradient, landmarks, or Earth's magnetism. So these are the cues that what all things they can use. They can use the direction of the sun, they can use the direction of stars, they can think about the temperature gradient, they can think about the landmark and magnetism of Earth, many of the things. So migrating gray whales use coastal landmarks to stay on course. So the migrating gray whales, what do? They use the coastal landmarks, that this is the place where I have to come back. So it uses coastal landmarks to stay on the course. That is its behavior, that it is going to move through the coast and then it is going to go in the feeding place. So it will move along the coastline and then it is going to finally go to a place where that is the feeding ground. Can you see this pink line? So that is the place where it is going to swim. The indigo bunting learns the star map and navigates by fixing on the north star. So this indigo bunting, it will see the north star and it is going to navigate in a whole area with the help of that north star that it is going to perceive as a landmark. Then animals are generally selective and efficient in their food choices also. Some animals such as gulls are feeding generalist. Other animals such as koalas are feeding specialist. They know exactly what to eat. They are not going to feed on anything. So the gulls, they are called as generalist, and koalas, they are called as feeding specialists. They are not going to settle for anything less. Then the mechanism that enables an animal to find particular foods efficiently is called search image. So they are going to put a search image in their mind. They are going to make a map in their mind, and then they will be going to that particular location many number of times for getting the food. So that is the search image in their mind. Natural selection seems to have shaped feeding behavior to maximize energy gain and minimize the expenditure of time and energy. So natural selection have shaped the feeding behavior so that they can make the most out of the food they are doing, and the food is not affecting them adversely. So they have become very peculiar about their choice, and this is called as the theory of optimal foraging. They will try to look for first of all the food which they should eat, and then they will move towards the food. Okay, fine, this I could eat. So whenever an animal has choices, there are a number of trade-offs. So if a particular animal is very specific about a particular food, so it is not going to be very beneficial to it, because sometimes it may starve also. So the example is, a bass can get more usable energy from minnow, but crayfish are easier to catch. A bass can get more usable energy from minnow, but crayfish are easier to catch, but they won't go for the easier thing. It may take more time to eat a crayfish because of its tough exoskeleton. So they are just sticking to one kind because they know that it will take longer to digest. The kangaroo rat selects high energy seeds in a manner that reduces time spent above the ground where it is exposed to predators. So they are used to eating high energy, high calorie rich food, so that it is going to last, and they are going to derive energy from it for a longer duration. So it is going to take food in that manner. It is not going to settle for any kind of food. They are not going to settle for small seeds, or which are less in the oil composition. They are going to consume high caloric seeds, so that this is going to give them selective advantage also. That is, now they are lesser exposed to the predators, so the chances of survival would be higher that way. So this is how they select what to be eaten and what not to be eaten. So social behavior, another thing, is defined as interaction among members of a population. How the population, they are behaving and they are mingling with each other will come under social behavior. The discipline of sociobiology studies comes under social behavior in the context of evolution. So discipline of sociobiology studies. So agonistic behavior is a social behavior consisting of where the organisms, they are going to settle, and the dispute between each other, how they are going to settle the dispute. So agonistic behavior can directly affect an individual's evolutionary fitness. The victor often gains the first or exclusive access to mates. So agonistic behavior can be for the territory, can be for mate, can be for food. So many animals live in a social groups maintained by agonistic behavior. Dominance hierarchy is the ranking of individuals based on the social interaction. Chickens, they establish a pack order. In chickens also, they establish a pack order. It is not a random thing, but it is also a very systematic thing. Resources are often partitions based upon the dominance hierarchy. The resources like the food is going to be more available to a certain chicken or a certain organism based on the dominance hierarchy. The one which will be dominant will have access towards the food primarily. Humans tend to space themselves out when they are close to others. They establish what we might call personal territories. They try to take small territories. They are not going to inhabit close by places. So many animals, they exhibit territorial behavior. So that is also done by very many wild animals. It is a form of social behavior that partitions the resources. So that is inbuilt in the gene also. So that will actually give benefit over the resources, how the resources are used between them. So a territory is an area that individuals defend and from which other members of the same species are usually excluded. So territory is that area where they are not going to let any other organism to come. That okay, fine, you can come and have share of my territory. No, they'll be very strict that territory cannot be shared. The size of the territory varies with the species. The function and availability of resources. Territories are typically used for feeding, mating, and rearing young. Territoriality is often maintained by agonistic behavior. So the territoriality is behaved by the agonistic behavior is on the base of the aggression what they are showing. These New Zealand gannets maintain their individual nesting territories by calling and pecking at each other. They're not going to let any other individual to come near to it. It is going to occupy a certain space, and that it does by what? It does that by calling and pecking each other. They are not going to let anyone come near to them. Then territoriality can enhance fitness if the benefits of possessing a territory outweighs the energy cost of defending one. So they are going to a territoriality can enhance fitness if the benefit of if the benefit is higher to keep one territory under their charge. So if the energy spent is equivalent to the benefits it is getting, okay, fine. But if the territory is not even benefiting it and they are spending a lot of energy, they will lose that territory. They will silently go away from that territory. They'll leave the territory. So territorial rights are proclaimed continually in a variety of ways. So this is done by the bird songs, noises such as bellowing of sea lions and the chattering of squirrels, defecation in open areas like you can see in the picture here. You can see defecating so that with the smell another individual cannot occupy that space. Scent markers such as urine. So here is the scent marker of the urine. They are going to urinate in a particular area and they will tell that this is my territory. So bird songs, noises such as bellowing of lions and all, these are kind of the territorial rights which organisms are going to do. So like this, we have completed this topic and we've completed it in a systematic manner, in a well-read manner. And I hope that by this lecture, you will be able to do the questions related to the evolution and behavior. So as we say in the last that let's crack CSIR UGC NET together. Please hit the bell icon for getting all the notifications of the upcoming video. And if you haven't subscribed our channel yet, please subscribe it. And if you like my video, give it a thumbs up. It really motivates us. And lastly, do not forget to use my referral code FB01 for getting a 10% discount. So do not forget to use my referral code, that is FP01. That is my referral code, and I hope you like the video. Come back for another video. And if you are determined to qualify the examination, I would suggest you to download the Unacademy learning app and make your account over there. And by doing so, you will get the access to all the special classes which I'm doing on the platform, and there I specifically go for question answer session along with all the theoretical sessions. So it is my personal suggestion to you that come on the special platform and uh, try to get the access towards all the questions along with their solutions. So this is it for now. We'll be meeting again with some other interesting topic of evolution. This is it for now, and keep on studying. Be happy.